What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video. Today we're going to get into something that Connor Hughes mentioned on one of his shows. Connor Hughes covers the Jets for SNY, and he stated that the Jets 2025 starting quarterback is already on the roster. And that quarterback, not Aaron Rodgers. At this point, it seems like it would be a surprise for most if Aaron Rodgers was here next year for a number of reasons. Number one, unfortunately, he hasn't played as well as what we were hoping for in 2024. It seems like the Jets organization is looking for a fresh start with the GM, head coach, and quarterback. And also, just from me personally, my own opinion, I find it very hard to believe that a new GM and a new coach is going to come in here and want to sign up for Aaron Rodgers in 2025. I think they're going to want to build it their own way, and that's unlikely to include Rodgers. Again, just my opinion, but I don't think there's many outside of Rex Ryan who are like, yeah, give me Aaron Rodgers next year as the quarterback. So who is it? Who's left? Tyrod Taylor? Jordan Travis? Let's roll it.
What you are likely looking at is Tyrod Taylor, who is on a 2-year deal for the Jets, coming back as this team's starting quarterback with a rookie to be drafted later.
So Hughes is saying that Tyrod Taylor as the bridge quarterback with a rookie behind him. You also, as I mentioned, you also have Jordan Travis still here. Now, I know that there are a lot of Jet fans who are still like really in on Jordan Travis, and my caution that I'll throw to you, and I'm not saying like cut Jordan Travis, he's not going to be on the roster next year, but what I'm going to again state to you, it's going to be dependent on what they felt about the new regime, the GM and the coach, how they felt about him coming out of the draft. But this isn't a quarterback that the regime drafted. It would be the old regime's Project Day 3 quarterback. Sure, if Jordan Travis gets healthy, which unfortunately he hasn't been able to do this year, and takes a big step forward in year 2, yeah, maybe he gets in the mix as well. But I don't think Travis is going to stop a new regime from taking a guy that they like. I've liked Tyrod Taylor for a long time, even going back to his days with the Buffalo Bills when he was a starter. I thought he was a decent stopgap starter way back when, and even now at this point, I think the same thing could be said. Now, the real big pushback with Tyrod has unfortunately been his injuries. And he suffered a lot of real freak injuries in his career. Going back to in 2020 is when it really started, when a doctor punctured his lung. Yes, after a pregame warmup, you might remember that his lung was punctured after he received a shot in 2020, which then led to Justin Herbert starting for the Chargers in I think it was like week 2 or week 3. That wasn't supposed to be the case. Herbert was supposed to sit behind Tyrod for a little bit. He gets thrust into the lineup and ends up being really good. In 2021 with Houston, he missed, I believe it was 6 weeks with a hamstring, And then in 2023 against the New York Jets, actually, he suffered a rib injury as the Giants starting quarterback. But if you look at the games that Tyrod Taylor started and finished, so we won't include the Jets game because he barely played. It was pretty much the Tommy DeVito show. He put up good numbers for the Giants last year in the other 4 starts. I'll give you the numbers. 20 in the first game, 24 to 36, 66.7 completion, 200 yards, no touchdowns, no picks, 80.8 rating. Then 18 to 29, 62%, 279 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, 116.9 rating. 27 to 41, 65.9%, 319 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 87.3 rating, and 23 to 32, 71.9%, 297 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, and a 98 passer rating. Add that all together in those 4 games, 92 of 138, 66.7 completion, 1,095 yards, which is 273.8 yards per game, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks, and a 94.3 rating. Honestly, really solid, and pushed the ball down the field more than we've seen from Aaron Rodgers this year. Rodgers hasn't had a game of 300 passing yards. He's come close. He's been in the 290s, but hasn't been able to get over 300 yards in honestly a few years. So yes, Tyrod Taylor actually has a 300-yard passing game more recently than Aaron Rodgers had. Something I've liked about Tyrod his entire career is he doesn't turn the ball over. Kind of reminds you of Alex Smith. Yes, Alex Smith in like his first year or 2 in the league struggled with interceptions, but then when he, later with San Francisco and then when he got to Kansas City, just did not turn the ball over. You're prototypical game manager. Tyrod has a 1.7 interception percentage for his career, 29 picks in 93 appearances, 58 starts. So I like that low number. Even still in his mid-30s, Tyrod Taylor still has an excellent deep ball, and he's not afraid to push the ball down the field, which is something that I think the Jets need to do. Their offense does not stretch the field. It is mostly underneath stuff. And the big reason for that, unfortunately, I think this year is because Aaron Rodgers is hurt. And this is the third year in a row that Aaron Rodgers has been hurt. He missed all of last year, which we know. This year, it seemed like after the Denver game, he really took a beating, and then Minnesota got worse. And he's been playing through injury, and I get it, like he's trying to tough it out, and part of me appreciates that, but a part of me also realizes like it's probably a little bit of a hindrance. And Leonard Williams, I thought, said it best after the game against Seattle, calling it chuck and duck. And that kind of feels like where Aaron Rodgers is, because he doesn't want to stand in the pocket and take that big hit. And he's throwing a lot underneath. It's most of this Jets offense is 5-yard speed outs down the field. And they don't get vertical very often. And when they have, especially last week against Seattle, Rodgers wasn't very accurate when trying to push the ball down the field. Now, who would the rookie quarterback potentially be? Honestly, I think Shedeur and Cam Ward come off the board before the Jets pick, honestly. I know that there's a chance the Jets have 3 wins and they're picking 6th right now. If they stay at 6, I think for sure Shedeur and Cam Ward are coming off the board. I think the Jets would have to get into the top 3 to get one of those 2 quarterbacks, because I'd imagine it would be Jacksonville up there along with some of, 2 other teams, potentially the Raiders, potentially the Giants, the Titans got to be in the mix as well. New England, although I think New England maybe wins a game or 2 down the stretch because they already have their quarterback. So it's not like, you're going to have to fight with the Patriots who already have Drake May for a quarterback. But in all likelihood, I think Shedeur and Cam Ward come off the board. I think the Jets probably end up picking somewhere between 6th and 8th. Again, just my prediction. I think there's a chance the Jets win against Jacksonville. I also think the last week of the year against Miami is a game the Jets could potentially win. And let's be honest, the Jets just losing out for the better draft pick, that almost never happens. They usually find their way to an extra win or 2. So that would leave options like Jalen Milroe, Alar, Quinn Ewers, Carson Beck, etc. And look, I get it. This isn't some flashy quarterback class like last year's was, or like the 2018 and 2021 class was hyped up to be. The Jets took quarterbacks in 2018, 2021, as we know. Sam Darnold, no longer on the Jets. He's in Minnesota and playing good football this year in his 7th season in the league. And for Zach Wilson, he's on a different team. He's the 3rd string quarterback out in Denver behind Bo Nix and Jarrett Stidham. I think there's things you could like about each one of these quarterback prospects, and also things that could give you pause, even with the guys like Shedeur and Cam Ward, who are going to end up going early in this draft. Milroe with his legs is interesting, but accuracy issues are there. Alar is a quarterback in the mid-rounds that a lot of people like, but again, I think there's a reason why he's a mid-round quarterback, or 2nd or 3rd round, I guess, rather than someone at the top. Ewers is... injuries scare me a little bit with him. I don't crazy dislike him, but injuries are a problem there. And Carson Beck, unfortunately, has not had a very good year. He was considered at one point as one of the top quarterbacks in the class, but due to his play has really dropped himself in the rankings. So my take on it, whichever one the new GM and head coach likes, go with that one. I don't really have a super strong feeling on any of these quarterbacks yet, but at this point, just go with whatever the new regime, hopefully you hire the right people, whoever they want. This would then allow this rookie quarterback to sit behind Tyrod Taylor to start the year. And look, Tyrod, not a long-term answer. You probably wouldn't even play the full season, either due to injury or just, eventually you want to see the young quarterback. But I think depending on the coaching hire and some roster tweaks, this young quarterback, along with Jordan Travis, if you want to include him as well, could be in a good spot with the team. It's not like you're being thrust into the situation that, Sam Darnold was, because there wasn't a lot of talent on that roster, or Zach Wilson. Wilson busted for a different reason. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out. His brain kind of broke after Bill Belichick got to him, which isn't the first time that Bill Belichick has rattled a young quarterback. And unfortunately, just was not the answer. But at the end of the day, I don't hate this plan. I really don't. I know some people aren't going to like it. Some people want to run it back with Aaron Rodgers. But I'm okay. Tyrod's under contract for relatively cheap. I think he's a fine stopgap quarterback. I think he could put up comparable, if not better, numbers than what Aaron Rodgers can at this point in his career. Obviously, this is not me saying that I think Tyrod is a better quarterback overall for the course of his career than Aaron Rodgers. But in 2025, can Tyrod give you similar production to what Rodgers could, or any of these stopgap options like Jameis Winston or Justin Fields or Sam Darnold or like whoever is your favorite option? I think yes. Honestly, I think he can. And he's going to do it a lot cheaper than what Aaron Rodgers would come, number one, and without the off-the-field headache and controversy that comes with Aaron Rodgers. And I just think it's something the Jets could use. I think they need this clean slate. They went all in on Rodgers. I supported them with that decision, but it clearly hasn't worked through 2 years. And I think it's time to just cut your losses and move forward. So I want to hear what you guys have to say. Let me know in the comments down below. I'm Matt O'Leary, and I'll catch you next time.